My beloved child, the time has come for your soul to stop running from the peace I have always held open before you. I see the days when you wake with a heavy heart. I see the way you try to gather enough strength to hold everything together, as though if you stopped straining, everything would fall apart. But, my child, this earth and sky have never been sustained by your fragile hands. The sun still rises without you lifting it. The sea still knows its boundaries without you controlling it. And every breath within your chest is also a gift I quietly give you each day. Why do you think you must carry the whole world upon your shoulders? Cast all your anxiety on him because he cares for you. As it is written in 1 Peter 5:7, I do not say this to condemn your weakness, but to remind you that your heart was not created to live in the chains of fear. There are times when you ask me to open a new way. Yet when I begin to shake what is old, you become afraid, thinking you are losing everything. You do not realize that many of the things you have been clinging to have long made your soul weary. I do not take things away to leave you empty. I clear the space so you can receive what is better. Just as a gardener cuts away withered branches so the tree may bear stronger fruit. I am also touching the deepest places of your life with the tenderness of a father. And though that process may sometimes cause you pain, I have never taken my eyes off you, for I know the plans I have for you. Plans for peace and not for disaster. As Jeremiah 29:11 declares, do not look at every change through eyes filled with panic anymore. Look with faith, believing that I am still continuing to write the story of your life with grace. My beloved child, faith is not a pleasant feeling when everything is going well. Faith is when you keep walking even though you cannot yet see the light at the end of the road. It is in the darkest nights, when your mind is full of questions and your heart is trembling, that I am teaching you to lean on me instead of leaning on your limited understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. As Proverbs 3:5 says, you often want to know everything in advance before you dare to rest. But I am calling you to walk first, and then each step will open new understanding. If you could see everything from the beginning, it would no longer be faith. I do not want you to believe only when every door is wide open. I want you to recognize that even when you cannot yet see the way, I am still holding your hand in the midst of the fog. Remember the widow of Zarephath during the drought. She had only a handful of flour and a little oil left, enough for one final meal before waiting for death. But when the prophet Elijah came and asked her to make bread for him first, it was not merely a test of generosity, it was the moment faith was called forth in the midst of lack. According to human reason, she should have kept the last portion for herself and her son, but she chose obedience in a situation where there seemed to be nothing left to hold on to. And then the miracle happened. The jar of flour was not used up, and the jug of oil did not run dry throughout the days of famine. Do you see? The miracle does not begin when circumstances are abundant. The miracle begins when the soul dares to trust me in the moment that seems utterly hopeless. There are doors I open only when you dare to release your fear and place the last portion of your faith into my hands. I know there have been many times when you grew weary from trying to control everything around you. You tried to control the words of others, tried to hold together relationships that were already breaking apart. I tried to force yourself to remain strong even when your soul was exhausted. But, my child, true peace is not born from your ability to hold everything together. It is born when you know that I am holding you. There are battles that do not require you to rush in with your own strength, but instead require you to kneel down and let me fight for you. Be still and know that I am God. As written in Psalm 46:10, the world teaches you that you must always stay in control, always calculate, always prepare for the worst. But I am teaching you another way, the way of resting quietly in my love. And one day, you will look back on the road you have traveled with eyes full of wonder. You will understand that the doors that closed and once made you weep were actually protecting you from far greater pain. The seasons of waiting that once made you restless were preparing you to become mature enough to receive what I had promised. Not a single tear has fallen from your eyes without me seeing it. Not a single long night has passed without me being near you. Even when you felt the most lost, I was still quietly placing each stone upon the path leading you back toward healing. So today, my beloved child, stop forcing yourself to understand everything. Stop condemning yourself for not being strong enough. I never called you to live by your own strength. What I seek is not a perfect soul, but a heart willing to open itself to my love. Let me enter the places you still keep closed because of fear of being hurt. Let me touch the memories that still wound you and transform them into testimonies of grace. For I am able to make flowers bloom even upon the driest ground of your life. When you learn to lay your burdens at my feet, your soul will become lighter. When you stop trying to hold everything in your own hands, you will begin to realize how strong and gentle my hands truly are. And then, in the midst of what seem like the most ordinary days, you will feel my presence covering your life like the quiet dawn pouring through a window after a long night. Do not be afraid anymore. My beloved child, I am here. I have always been here. And as long as you continue walking with me, there will never be a darkness great enough to swallow the light I have placed within your heart. My beloved child, I know there are nights when you lie awake for hours, unable to even name all the things weighing heavily upon your heart. On the outside, everything may appear quiet, yet within you rages an entire storm of unanswered questions. You look toward tomorrow with anxious eyes, wondering whether you will have enough strength to keep going, whether the hopes you carry will vanish like the morning mist, or whether I truly hear the small prayers rising from the deepest place within your soul. But, my child, before you even call upon me, I have already heard the cry of your heart. Before the tears fall, I have already seen the pain. See, I have engraved you on the palms of my hands, as Isaiah 49:16 declares. Therefore, never believe that you have been forgotten among the vast multitude of people. To the world, you may feel like only a small and insignificant soul, but to me, you are my child, loved with a love beyond measure. There are moments when you think I am silent because heaven has not immediately answered your prayers. But, my child, my silence is not my absence. Some seeds must remain hidden deep within the soil for a season before they rise into living shoots. Some rains do not come immediately because I am still preparing the ground for a harvest far greater than you can imagine. If I gave you everything while your heart was still filled with fear and impatience, you would hold your blessings with trembling hands instead of with a peaceful heart. That is why sometimes I allow you to walk through seasons of waiting, not to exhaust you, but to teach you that true hope is not found in circumstances, but in my presence alone. Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. As Isaiah 40:31 says, when you learn how to rest in me, you will realize that heaven has never stopped moving on behalf of your life. I see the way you try to control everything in order to protect yourself. You calculate every step, cling tightly to what feels familiar, and worry even about things that have not yet happened. You believe that if you let go, everything will fall apart. But, my beloved child, can your limited hands truly hold together what has always belonged under my sovereignty? It is the tightness within your heart that leaves you weary. It is the need to understand everything that causes your soul to lose the softness of faith. I did not call you to live as someone carrying the weight of the world upon your shoulders. I called you to live as a child, resting their head upon their father's chest. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. As written in Matthew 11:28, true peace does not come when you are able to control everything. True peace comes when you know that I am still holding you, even when you no longer have the strength to hold yourself together. Remember Jehoshaphat, the king who stood before an army so vast that his people trembled in fear, believing there was no way of escape. In the eyes of the world, it was the moment to gather weapons, calculate strategies, and prepare for defeat. But instead of placing his trust in his own strength, he knelt in prayer and said, "We do not know what to do, but our eyes are upon you." And I spoke to them, saying that the battle did not belong to them, but to me. When the people began to lift songs of praise in the midst of danger, I threw the enemy ranks into confusion and brought victory in a way no one could have imagined. Do you see? My child, miracles often begin at the moment when the human heart stops clinging to its own ability and chooses instead to rely completely upon me. There are battles in your life that will never be won by your own strength, but only through surrender and trust. The fear you are carrying is not a voice I placed within your heart. You do not sow panic, doubt, or despair into your soul. Fear always whispers that you must save yourself, that if you are not constantly alert, disaster will come upon you, that I may somehow forget you along the journey. But I say to you that my love does not change with circumstances. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. As 2 Timothy 1:7 declares, when you allow fear to rule, your soul will always live in tension. But when you allow faith to grow, you will begin to see my hand, even in the smallest things in the door that closed at the right moment, in the unexpected encounter, in the quiet protection you once failed to notice. My beloved child, I do not condemn you for having worried. I understand your weakness. I understand the feelings of a heart that has been wounded and therefore always tries to prepare itself for the worst. But today I am inviting you into another kind of life, a life of surrender. Not surrender born from hopelessness, but the placing of your life into the hands of the one who loves you more than you love yourself. Stop using anxiety as a shield to protect your soul. Stop believing that doubt will keep you safe from pain. Those things only make your heart heavier. I want to teach you a better way, the way of trust. And the time will come when you look back upon these anxious seasons and realize that I never abandoned you for even a single moment. Even when you thought you were most lost, I was quietly guiding your steps. Even when you could not see a single miracle, I was still working in depths your eyes could not yet reach. So today, my beloved child, loosen your weary hands. Let your fears fall at my feet. Let your heart learn once again how to rest. And then, in the midst of life's chaos, you will hear my gentle voice calling out to you, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." My beloved child, I see the weariness covering your soul like a heavy mist. I see the way you try to keep everything within your grasp, as though if you loosened your hold even slightly, your life would shatter into pieces. Quietly, you calculate for tomorrow, forcing yourself to stay strong, to understand everything in advance, to prepare for every possible outcome. But, my child, your heart was never created to live in such tension. I did not create you to stand guard over every storm in your life. I created you to live in closeness with me, to learn how to rest in the love of the one who holds the entire universe in his hands. Be still and know that I am God. As written in Psalm 46:10, there are moments when what your soul needs most is not more strength to endure, but enough trust to finally let go. You often believe that the more control you have, the safer you will be. Yet it is that very tightening of your grip that is causing your hands to ache. You cling to worry as though it were a weapon to protect yourself. You cling to doubt as a way to prepare for disappointment. You cling to the need to understand everything, as though knowledge alone could shield you from pain. But, my beloved child, when your hands are already full of such burdens, how can you receive what I long to place within them? I cannot fill a vessel that is still crowded with fear. I cannot pour peace into a soul that remains locked behind control. That is why today I am gently calling you to release it all. Not so that you may become weak, but so that you may become free. When you choose to place your worries at my feet, I will replace them with a peace that surpasses human understanding. When you stop using suspicion to guard your heart, I will teach you to take up the sword of faith instead. Put on the full armor of God. As Ephesians 6:11 declares, but the armor I give you is not fear, not control, not panic. I clothe you with the breastplate of righteousness. Place the helmet of salvation upon your head, and fill your heart with a peace the world can never take away. You no longer need to fight through the strain of the flesh. There are victories that are won, not through your strength, but through your surrender before me. Remember the story of Mary when the angel announced that she would give birth to the Savior. By human understanding, it was beyond reason and filled with danger. She could have been misunderstood, judged, rejected. Yet instead of trying to control the future or demanding every answer before obeying, Mary simply bowed her head and said, "May it be unto me according to your word." It was through that gentle surrender that a miracle entered the world. Do you see? My child, heaven often accomplishes its greatest works through hearts that are willing to say yes to me, even before they can see the whole road ahead. I know that for you, letting go is not easy. You have lived for so long with the feeling that you must take care of everything yourself. You fear that if you stop calculating, stop striving, stop trying to control everything, then nothing will remain to protect you. But, my child, if your life depends only upon your own strength, you will always live in exhaustion. I do not want you to walk through life like an orphan trying desperately to save yourself. I want you to walk as a beloved child who knows their Father is beside them. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. As Romans 8:28 says, that means even the things you do not yet understand today can still be transformed into blessings in my perfect time. There are doors I have closed not to punish you, but to protect you from what would wound your soul. There are seasons of waiting I have allowed to continue, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am preparing something far better than your imagination can yet grasp. If you could see every part of my plan from the beginning, you would never learn trust. That is why sometimes I give you only enough light for the next step, not to make you afraid, but to teach you how to hold my hand instead of clinging only to the outcome. My beloved child, do not let the endless what-ifs steal the peace of your present moment. Do not allow your mind to wander endlessly through futures that have not yet arrived. Those worries are like winds in the desert. They may stir up sand and leave your eyes burning. Yet, with only one breath from me, everything can become still again. You do not need to know every answer in order to have peace. You only need to know who is leading you. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the one who sees the ending from the very beginning. What confuses you today has never once been beyond my reach. So today, let your trembling hands finally rest. Stop clinging tightly to burdens I never asked you to carry. Open your heart like a child, leaning against their father after a long and exhausting day. I have not broken my promises to you. I am still working in places your eyes cannot yet see. And the day will come when you realize that the very moments you thought you were about to collapse were actually the moments when I was carrying you through. When you learn how to surrender, you will understand that the greatest miracle is not merely changed circumstances, but a heart that has finally learned how to rest in me. My beloved child, what I am teaching your soul is not how to see the entire road ahead, but how to walk while your hand is resting in mine. Faith is not the ability to predict what tomorrow will look like. Faith is the deep peace that comes from knowing the one guiding you never makes mistakes. Too many times you have wanted to see the outcome before allowing yourself to rest. Wanted to understand everything before taking the next step. But, my child, if I showed you everything from the beginning, you would rely more on what your eyes could see than on me. That is why I place only a small light before you, enough for the next step, so that you may learn to trust me day by day. The righteous shall live by faith. As Romans 1:17 declares, I did not call you to live by the fear of tomorrow, but by my presence in today. You think that when you release your worries, you will become more fragile, but the truth is the opposite. It is the fears you continue to hold on to that are draining the strength from your soul. They keep you awake deep into the night in exhaustion, causing your heart to remain tense, like someone trapped in a battlefield that never ends. I did not create you to live that way. When you lay down the weapons of anxiety, you are not losing protection. You are exchanging them for the true strength that comes from heaven. Those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. As Isaiah 40:31 says, an eagle does not fly by clinging tightly to the branch. It can only soar when it dares to spread its wings into the unseen wind. You are the same, my child, as long as you continue clinging to old things out of fear. Your soul will never rise into the greater heights I have prepared for you. Picture your life as a boat drifting upon a vast sea. There are seasons when violent waves rise up and dark clouds gather, making you feel as though you are about to sink beneath the chaos. In panic, you run everywhere, trying with your own strength to keep the boat from breaking apart. But the harder you try to control everything, the more exhausted you become, and the more peace slips away. Then I step into the middle of that storm, not rushing, not afraid, but gently placing my hand upon your shoulder and saying, take courage. This is exactly what happened to the disciples long ago upon the Sea of Galilee. The wind screamed, the waves crashed over the boat, and yet I rose and rebuked the wind and spoke to the sea, saying, be still. And instantly, the waters became calm. Do you see, my child? What brings peace is not your own ability, but my presence within the boat of your life. When I am there, no storm will ever have the final word. My beloved child, I know there are wounds that make it difficult for you to trust completely. There were times when you opened your heart and were betrayed. There were times when you hoped, only to be crushed by disappointment. There were nights when you waited for an answer yet found only a silence that seemed endless. Those memories have caused you to build walls around your heart. You learned to keep your distance in order to protect yourself. You say that you surrender everything to me. Yet deep within, you still keep a backup plan because you are afraid of being abandoned once again. I understand that, my beloved child. I do not condemn your weakness, but I do not want you to spend your life hidden inside that fortress of self-protection, because the same walls that keep you from being hurt are also keeping you from love and healing. Remember Peter on the night he stepped out of the boat and walked upon the water. As long as his eyes remained fixed on me, he was able to walk in the middle of the impossible. But when he looked at the fierce wind and the crashing waves, fear caused him to sink. You are the same, my child. When your eyes remain fixed upon problems, upon the future, upon everything that could go wrong, your heart will become filled with anxiety. But when you lift your eyes toward me, you will realize that the one who called you to walk is also the one powerful enough to keep you from sinking. Faith does not mean there will be no storms. Faith means knowing that in the midst of the storm, I am still holding your hand. I am inviting you to step out from the fortress of control. Lay the sword of doubt at my feet. Let the endless what-ifs stop ruling your mind. You no longer need to fight in order to save yourself. The battle is not yours, but God's. As written in 2 Chronicles 20:15, there are battles your soul cannot win through effort alone, but only through surrender. When you stop forcing yourself to hold everything together, you will begin to hear the voice of my peace whispering within your heart. My beloved child, let me become the captain of your life. Let me take hold of the wheel you have gripped so tightly for so long in your exhaustion. I see how weary you are from trying to guide yourself through every dark and dangerous water alone. But you were never created to row through life by yourself. You were created to walk with me. I know where the storms are, where the hidden rocks lie beneath the surface, and where the safe harbor for your soul awaits. If you trust me enough to loosen your grip, I will lead you farther than fear has ever allowed you to go. So today, come close to me. Sit beside the stream of my peace that never runs dry. Let your weary heart rest within this gentle presence. You do not need to understand everything in order to be safe. You only need to know that I am here, and as long as I remain within the boat of your life, there will never be a storm powerful enough to sink you. My beloved child, I know there are days when your heart feels like a restless sea, never truly calm for even a moment. You believe that if you calculate carefully enough, hold everything tightly enough, and prepare for every possible outcome, then you will be able to avoid pain. But, my child, true peace has never been built upon the foundation of control. True peace appears only when your soul realizes that no matter how fiercely the storm may rise, I am still in the boat with you. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give to you. I do not give to you as the world gives. As written in John 14:27, the world defines peace as the absence of problems, but the peace I give is the ability to remain at rest even while the waves are still roaring around you. There have been times when you asked me to remove the storm immediately, but the first thing I desire to do is transform your heart in the middle of the storm itself. For if your soul continues to be ruled by fear, then even when the sea is calm today, you will still tremble at tomorrow's wind. I do not want you to live like someone endlessly running from danger. I want you to live like one who knows that the one who guards their soul is greater than every danger upon this earth. When the disciples panicked in the darkness of the sea and believed they were about to drown, I did not only calm the storm, I also asked them, "Why are you afraid?" Not because I failed to see how great the storm was, but because I wanted them to realize that my presence in the boat mattered more than the strength of the storm outside it. My beloved child, my love does not come merely to forgive your mistakes, but also to set you free from the chains of fear. Fear clouds the eyes of your soul. It causes you to doubt my goodness, to believe that you must save yourself, protect your own future, and hold everything together by your own strength. But perfect love casts out fear. As written in 1 John 4:18, when light enters a dark room, the darkness does not need to be dragged out piece by piece. It simply disappears. In the same way, when you allow my love to touch the deepest places of your heart, fear will gradually lose its power over you. I do not want you to live constantly on guard, constantly tense, constantly preparing for the worst. I want you to live as a beloved child, protected, sheltered, and safely held in my care. Remember the seasons of your life when you thought you would never make it through. There were times when you believed every door had closed, when you thought you had lost everything, when you saw no good thing waiting ahead of you anymore. Yet I still made a way where there seemed to be no way. I still lifted you up after days when you believed you no longer had the strength to stand. There were acts of protection I carried out for you that you never even noticed. There were disasters I stopped before they ever reached you. If I have been faithful to you in the past, why do you believe today that I will abandon you? The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. As Exodus 5:13 declares, sometimes the strongest thing you can do is not to strive harder, but to become still enough for your heart to trust me. Faith does not mean you will never feel fear again. Faith is when you continue walking, even while your legs still tremble. It is when tears still fall, yet your eyes still lift toward heaven. It is when you cannot yet see a way out, but still believe that I am making a path where your eyes cannot yet see. Look at Abraham when I called him to leave his homeland and go to a land he had never known. He had no map, no visible guarantee, no answer for every question. Yet he walked forward because he trusted that the one who called him was faithful. And it was through that faith that a covenant far greater than his understanding was opened before him. You are the same, my beloved child. I do not ask you to see the entire journey. I ask only that you trust me enough for the next step. I know there are old wounds that still cause you to draw back whenever you think about completely letting go. There were times when you gave your trust and were betrayed. There were seasons when you waited for so long and still saw no answer. So you built invisible walls around your heart. You pray to me, yet quietly keep an escape route hidden away in case things do not unfold the way you hoped. You say you surrender, yet deep within you still fear that if you truly let go, you will lose everything. I understand that fear. I do not rebuke you for it. But, my child, the walls you have built to keep yourself from being hurt are also preventing the flow of healing from reaching your soul. I do not force you to believe. My beloved child, my love does not work through coercion. I stand at the door of your heart and wait patiently. When you open it, I enter. But when you cling tightly to everything through reason and fear, you imprison yourself within a cage of your own making. Yet I created you to soar, not to live curled up inside the cage of control. The righteous shall live by faith. That faith is not a fleeting emotion, but a daily decision that says, even though I do not understand everything, I still choose to trust you. Father, my beloved child, stop carrying burdens I never asked you to bear. You are not the savior of your own life. You were never created to carry the weight of the entire world upon your shoulders. When you grow weary from trying to keep everything from falling apart, remember that I am still seated upon the throne. I have never lost control. And what you call an ending is sometimes only the place where I begin writing a new chapter filled with grace. So today, let your heart soften before me. Lay down the shields of self-protection, the swords of doubt, the plans you cling to because of fear. Come close to me like a weary child returning home to their father. I am not waiting for you to become perfect before I embrace you. I am only waiting for you to trust me enough to loosen your grip and allow me to hold you instead. And when that happens, you will understand that the greatest miracle is not merely changed circumstances, but a soul that has finally learned how to rest in my everlasting love. My beloved child, there are nights when you sit alone in the darkness, believing that if you calculate carefully enough, prepare thoroughly enough, and hold tightly enough to everything around you, then your heart will finally be safe. But, my child, peace is not born from your ability to control circumstances. True peace is born when your soul knows that even if the ground beneath your feet trembles, I will never leave you. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1 declares, the world teaches you to cling tightly to everything so that nothing will be lost. But I am teaching you a deeper way, the way of surrender. For only when you stop trying to become the one steering every part of your life will you truly begin to feel my arms holding you up. There are storms I do not calm immediately, because I want you to discover that what keeps you standing is not a peaceful sea, but my presence beside you in the midst of the storm. When the disciples trembled upon the raging waters, they believed the greatest danger was the storm around them. But what I wanted them to learn was not only my power to calm the storm, but the truth that as long as I remained in the boat, they would never sink. You are the same. My beloved child, perhaps today you still cannot see a way out of what you are facing, but I am there, closer than your very breath. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is when your heart no longer panics because it knows I have never abandoned it. I know how deeply fear has exhausted your soul. When fear reigns, you begin to see everything through the lens of loss. You love while still expecting to be hurt. You hope while secretly preparing for disappointment. You pray. Yet deep inside you still tell yourself that you must keep an escape route ready. But perfect love casts out fear. As written in 1 John 4:18, light does not struggle against darkness, it simply appears, and darkness fades away. My love works the same way. I did not come to condemn your weakness, but to heal it with tenderness. I do not want you to live like a soul, constantly on guard, always bracing itself against harm. I want you to live freely like a child sleeping peacefully in their father's arms, without needing to know what tomorrow will bring. Remember the times when you believed you had reached the very end of despair. There were doors that closed and made you weep. There were losses that convinced you your life would never feel whole again. Yet, even in those ashes, I planted new seeds within your life. There were times when I protected you without you ever realizing it. There were paths I prevented you from taking because I could already see the pain your eyes were not yet able to perceive. If you are still standing here today, still breathing, still able to lift your eyes toward heaven and seek me, it is because my grace has continued to cover you day after day. Thus far the Lord has helped us. As written in 1 Samuel 7:12, do not let the fear of the present make you forget the faithfulness I have shown throughout your entire journey. Faith is not the total absence of fear. Faith is when your legs still tremble, yet you continue walking forward. It is when tears remain upon your cheeks, yet your heart still whispers, Father, I trust you. Peter stepped out of the boat in the middle of the dark night, not because he could not see the towering waves, but because he heard my voice calling him, and as long as his eyes remained fixed upon me, he stood upon the impossible. Only when he looked at the violent wind and became afraid did he begin to sink. You are the same. My beloved child, what causes your soul to sink is not merely the storm around you, but the moment you forget to look toward me. I see that this world is consumed with the need to control everything. People build walls around their lives, trying to predict the future, searching for safety and money, power, and their own plans. But you were not called to live like the world. You are a child of light. You were called to walk by faith, not by the panic that rules human hearts. The birds of the air neither sow nor reap, yet I feed them each day. The flowers of the field do not clothe themselves in beauty, yet I dress them in splendor greater than Solomon's glory. If I care for even these small things, how could I ever forget you? Do not worry about tomorrow. As written in Matthew 6:34, I do not say this because life will be without hardship, but because I do not want you to become a prisoner of things that have not yet happened. My beloved child, I know there are old wounds that have caused you to close your heart. There were times when you gave your trust and were betrayed. There were seasons of waiting so long that you believed heaven had forgotten your prayers. So you built layers of defense around your heart. You sing about surrender while still clinging tightly to your own plans. You pray, yet still hold on to control because you fear that if you truly let go, everything will collapse. But, my child, when you lock the door of your heart to avoid pain, you also, unknowingly, prevent healing from entering. I do not force you to open the door. True love never coerces. I simply stand there, patiently waiting until you trust me enough to open your heart. You were not created to live inside the cage of fearful reasoning. I created you to soar with the wings of faith, and those wings can only open when you dare to release the familiar branch of control. Remember Abraham when he left his homeland without knowing where he was going. Remember the people of Israel standing before the Red Sea with no visible escape ahead of them. It is precisely where human strength can no longer save itself that my power is revealed most clearly. My grace is sufficient for you. As written in 2 Corinthians 12:9, you do not need to be strong in your own strength in order to be loved by me. You only need to be honest enough to admit that you need me. So, today, my beloved child, lay down the burdens I never asked you to carry. Stop trying to become the savior of your own life. Let your weary hands rest within mine. Speak to me like a little child and say, Father, I no longer want to live in fear. Teach me how to trust you. And when you speak those words with all the sincerity of your soul, I will begin to do things beyond your understanding. Little by little, you will come to realize that the greatest miracle is not merely changed circumstances, but a heart that has finally learned how to rest in my everlasting love. My beloved child, fear has exhausted your soul for far too long. It has caused you to live like someone constantly standing before a door about to close, always afraid of losing what matters most, always guarding your heart to protect it from being hurt again. I see the invisible walls you have built around your soul, not because you desire distance from love, but because you fear the return of pain. But, my child, those walls do not only keep pain from entering, they also prevent healing from reaching you. My love does not come to destroy you, but to open your soul wide again. When you allow that love to touch the deepest places within your heart, you will begin to breathe more freely, see life through different eyes, and realize that you no longer need to live in a posture of defense. There is no fear in love, but perfect love casts out fear. As written in 1 John 4:18, light does not argue with darkness, it simply appears, and darkness fades away. In the same way, when my love fills your soul, even the coldest places within your heart will begin to melt. There were nights when you believed your tears fell in vain. There were seasons when all you could see around you was brokenness, loss, and an endless silence. But I tell you this, not a single tear has been forgotten. I have used those very tears to water the seeds of faith sleeping within your heart. The things that wounded you were not signs that I had abandoned you. Many times, they were the very places where I was quietly reshaping your soul into something more beautiful. A potter must press, mold, and pass the clay through fire in order to create a vessel that will endure. I am doing the same with your life. There are things I have allowed not to destroy you, but to save you from the weaker and smaller version of yourself that you once clung to. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. As written in 1 Peter 5:10, what you call a dark night is often only the season in which I am preparing a new dawn for your soul. Remember Joseph during the years when he was sold into slavery and forgotten in a dark prison. To human eyes, everything that happened to him appeared to be nothing more than one injustice after another. Yet, in the very place that seemed abandoned, I was quietly preparing him for a position greater than he had ever imagined. If Joseph had never gone through the pit, he would never have reached the throne. If he had never tasted betrayal, he would never have understood the power of forgiveness. You are the same, my beloved child. There are doors that have closed because I am leading you toward another door far greater than the one you lost. There are seasons of loneliness I have allowed to continue, so that you may learn that no person on this earth can fill the space within your soul that belongs only to me. And when you finally realize that my presence is what your soul needs most, you will no longer fear losing everything else. My love does not merely surround you from the outside, it is working within you day by day. It is renewing the way you think, healing the memories that once caused you pain, and shining light into the dark places you once tried to hide. There are things that once made you tremble, yet the day will come when you look back in amazement because they no longer hold power over you. That is because my love is not only gentle comfort, it is also transforming strength. It teaches you to rise again after failure. It gives you the ability to forgive when your heart was once filled with bitterness. It causes you to stop looking at the future through eyes of despair and begin seeing it through the light of hope. Behold, I make all things new. As written in Revelation 21:5. I am not only renewing the circumstances around you, I am renewing your very heart. My beloved child, I want you to understand that my love does not change according to your perfection or your failures. When you stumble, I do not turn away from you. When you are weak, I do not withdraw my affection. Instead, I become even more gentle toward the wounded soul. A mother does not abandon the child who has fallen and hurt themselves. She bends down and lifts them up. I love you even more deeply than that. I have loved you with an everlasting love. As written in Jeremiah 31:3, there may have been people who left you when you were no longer strong or useful to them, but I have never left you for even a single moment. When every voice around you grows silent, I am still listening. When you no longer have words to pray, my spirit still intercedes for you with groanings too deep for human words to express. Look at my hands that once bore wounds because of my love for you. I did not love you with empty words. I stepped into pain, stepped into the darkness of humanity, so that you would know there is no abyss I would refuse to enter in order to find you again. So stop believing that you must save your own life. Stop believing that you must control everything in order to be safe. When you truly know that you are loved, your soul will no longer live in panic. A child sleeps peacefully not because they understand everything happening around them, but because they know their Father is near. I want you to live that way within, my love. When you realize that I am closer than your fears, you will begin letting go without regret. When you understand that everything I allow is leading you towards something better, you will stop clinging to the very things I am trying to heal or renew. And it is in the place where you are no longer ruled by fear that faith will begin to take deeper root. A seed cannot grow in frozen ground, but when my love softens your heart, new life will begin to rise within you. Then you will see blessings flowing not because life no longer contains trials, but because your soul has finally learned how to rest in my love that never changes. My beloved child, I did not step into your life merely to patch a few broken pieces on the surface and then walk away. The work I do always goes deeper than what your eyes can see. I came to restore the very foundation of your soul, to touch the places that have remained silent for far too long because of pain, the places you once believed could never truly heal again. There are losses you can easily name, but there are also things you lost quietly and invisibly. Joy, trust, the peace of waking each morning, the feeling of being loved and safe. I see all of those things. And I tell you this, my restoration is not only about returning what was lost outwardly, but about rebuilding within you a new soul stronger, brighter, and more alive than before. Behold, I make all things new. As written in Revelation 21:5, I do not repair you the way someone temporarily patches an old garment. I am creating something entirely new from the ashes of your life. You often believe heaven is silent when everything around you seems delayed. But My beloved child, delay does not mean I have stopped working. Some of my greatest works happen in silence. A seed makes no sound while taking root beneath the earth. Yet it is precisely in that hidden darkness that life begins to form. In the same way, when you cannot yet see change, it does not mean I have forgotten you. The closed doors, the detours, the separations you cannot understand, all of them are being woven into a greater picture that your eyes are not yet able to fully see. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. As Romans 8:28 declares, there are things that confuse you today, yet the day will come when you look back and realize they were the very things that rescued you from paths never meant for you. I want you to know that when I say I am near, it is not merely a gentle word of comfort. It is a spiritual reality surrounding your life. Heaven is not indifferent to your tears. There are battles you cannot see with human eyes. Yet I have already sent angels ahead to guard you. There are traps I have quietly removed from your path before your feet ever reach them. There are encounters you believed were accidental but were actually arranged long ago within my loving plan. Just as I led the people of Israel through the wilderness by a pillar of cloud during the day and a pillar of fire at night, I am also guiding you step by step, even when you do not recognize it yet. Many times they believed they had been abandoned in the desert. Yet every morning, manna still appeared upon the ground as proof that I had never forgotten my people. You are the same, my beloved child. Perhaps today you cannot yet see the full road ahead, but I am still nourishing your soul day by day with invisible grace. My restoration has never been partial. When I touch a life, I do not merely repair the brokenness on the outside. I heal the roots hidden deep within. I do not want you to smile outwardly while inwardly you are still bleeding. That is why I will touch even the memories you have hidden away, the wounds you do not wish to speak about again, the dark places you once believed were safer locked forever. I did not come to shame you for your weakness. I came to show you that my grace is greater than everything that ever caused you to fall. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. As written in Psalm 147:3, I do not heal you in haste. I heal you with patient love, little by little, until your soul learns once again how to breathe in freedom. Remember Job, who lost nearly everything during a season of darkness that seemed endless. He lost his possessions, his family, his health, and even the peace within his heart. There were moments when all he had left were ashes and unanswered questions. Yet, I never abandoned him in those ashes. In the end, I not only restored what he had lost, but gave him even more than before. But the greatest thing I restored in Job was not his wealth, it was a deeper understanding of my presence. Before, he had only heard about me. After the trial, he truly knew me. You are the same, my beloved child. There are things I allow your life to pass through, not to destroy you, but to draw you into a deeper closeness with me. I know there are times when you are afraid to hope again. You are afraid of believing only to face disappointment once more, afraid of opening your heart only to be wounded again. But, my child, do not let old brokenness cause you to reject the new season. I am preparing for you. My restoration does not depend upon your strength. It depends upon my power and my love. Even now, my spirit is at work within your soul. You may not feel it clearly yet, but I am mending what has been fractured, rekindling the flame you thought had gone out, and pouring the oil of joy into places once filled with mourning, to bestow on them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning. As written in Isaiah 61:3, I am not merely pulling you out of darkness. I will cause the very place that was once dark to become a testimony of my grace. So today, my beloved child, do not look at your life only through what your eyes can presently see. Do not believe that silence means nothing is happening. Life is quietly growing beneath the soil you thought was barren and ruined. Roots are stretching deeper before the tree rises above the ground, and the day will come when you stand in the middle of your season of restoration and weep in astonishment. You will understand that not one tear was wasted. Not one dark night was allowed without purpose. Not one loss exists that I cannot transform into something more beautiful within my hands. Rest in this truth. I am restoring you even now, not only in some distant future, but right in the middle of your present journey, in the midst of your weariness, your question, and the places that still remain unclear. I am still working, and the work I have begun within you, I will surely complete with my love that never fails. My beloved child, there have been times when you knelt in prayer, believing you came to me, only to find an answer for your present circumstances. You asked for a door to open, for a miracle to happen, for a brighter path through dark days. But, my child, the greatest gift I have ever desired to give you has never been merely a temporary answer. The greatest gift I long to give you is my presence, for when you truly have me, your soul will discover what no answer from this world could ever provide. Whom have I in heaven but you? And earth has nothing I desire besides you. As written in Psalm 73:25, there are empty places within your heart that success cannot fill, wounds that human words cannot heal, and spiritual hunger that only my love can satisfy. And when you remain close to me long enough, you will realize that what you truly need is not control over the future, but to know the one who holds that future in his hands. This is the season in which I am restoring your soul, not merely repairing a few broken things on the outside, but renewing you from the deepest places within. There are parts of your heart that have grown weary from fighting for too long. There are dreams that were buried beneath disappointment. There are words spoken by others that caused you to believe you were small, worthless, and undeserving. But I entered the story of your life, not as a distant spectator. I entered it as the one who rewrites the ending with grace. See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs up. As written in Isaiah 43:19, do not believe your life has been defined by past failures. In my hands, ashes can still become beauty, and even the driest places can bloom again. My beloved child, stop measuring your worth through the eyes of the world. People often exalt strength, talent, status, and whatever easily earns admiration from others. But I have never chosen people in that way. When I called Moses, he was a man trembling before the sound of his own voice. When I chose David, he was only a shepherd boy forgotten in the fields, while his brothers received attention instead. When I came to Mary, she was merely a young unknown girl from a small village. Yet, I saw within them what human eyes could not see. I looked at the heart, willing to answer my call. The Lord does not look at the things people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart, as written in 9 Samuel 6:7. So do not believe that your weakness causes me to hesitate. It is often in the places where you feel most fragile that my power shines most brightly. I see within you a flame that perhaps even you have not yet recognized. Right now it may seem like only a tiny spark in the middle of a great wind, but if you allow my spirit to breathe upon it, it will become a fire strong enough to light the way for many others. Do not despise the small beginnings of your life. The mustard seed is the smallest of seeds. Yet when it grows, it becomes a tree large enough for the birds of the air to rest within it. You are the same, my beloved child. There are things I have placed within your heart today that seem small and insignificant. But if you faithfully nurture them with faith and obedience, they will grow far beyond what you can imagine. I know there are times when you look at yourself and see only shortcomings, You remember your failures, your wrong decisions, and the seasons when you were weak. You wonder how someone like you could ever be used by me. But remember Gideon, who once hid in a winepress because of fear. Yet I called him mighty warrior. I do not call you according to your present condition. I call you according to who I see you becoming in me. When Gideon looked at himself, he saw the weakest member of his father's house. But when I looked at him, I saw the one who would deliver an entire nation. Do you see? My child, what determines your future is not the way you see yourself, but the way I see you. My beloved child, do not let insecurity silence the calling I have placed within your heart. Insecurity causes you to shrink back, convincing you that your light is too small to make a difference. But I tell you this, even a small lamp can drive away the darkness of an entire room. You do not need to become someone else in order to be loved or used by me. I am not searching for perfection. I am searching for a heart willing to say, Father, use me. It is within that simple surrender that heaven begins to move. There are things I will accomplish through your life that you cannot yet understand. There will be people who find hope again because of your testimony. There will be souls warmed by the light I have placed within your heart. The wounds you once carried will no longer remain only painful memories. They will become the very places where my grace shines most brightly. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. As written in 2 Corinthians 12:9, do not be ashamed of the places where you once broke apart. In my hands, those very cracks will become the places where light shines through. So today, my beloved child, stop living as though you have been forgotten. Stop believing that you are only a small and meaningless light in this vast world. I have placed eternity within your breath. I called your name before you were formed in your mother's womb. And what I have begun in your life, I will complete. Let me restore you. Let me love you. Let me lead you into the new version of yourself that heaven has seen from the beginning. And then you will realize that the greatest thing is not becoming strong through your own power, but finally learning how to let my light live and shine through your life. My beloved child, I have never looked for a life in you that has never stumbled. I do not call those who have never been weak, who have never doubted, or who have never wept in the darkness of night. What I seek is a heart that knows how to return after every fall. A soul that still chooses to rise and turn toward me, even while its feet are trembling. For faith is not born from perfection, but from surrender. Though the righteous fall 7 times, they rise again. As written in Proverbs 24, Shiloh, perhaps you have looked at your past many times and seen only failures, mistakes, and seasons that did not turn out as you expected. But I do not look at you with eyes of condemnation. I look at you with the eyes of a father who still sees the beauty of the seed, even while it remains hidden beneath the dark soil. You often believe you must prove your worth in order to be used by me. You try to become stronger, more perfect, more worthy of my calling. But, my child, the light does not come from your effort. The light comes from my presence within you. The moon does not create its own light, but when it faces the sun, the whole night sky is illuminated. You are the same. I do not ask you to shine by your own strength until you are exhausted. I only want you to stay close enough to me to reflect the light of heaven in this world filled with darkness. You are the light of the world, as written in Matthew 5:14. Not because you are perfect in yourself, but because my light is living within you. So today, lift your head, my beloved child. Do not let the voices of the past continue to imprison your soul in shame and guilt. There are accusations that still echo quietly in your mind, reminding you of the things you did wrong, the times you failed, making you believe that you are no longer worthy to be loved or used. But there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ. As written in Romans 8:1, I did not call you to live forever beneath the weight of old sin. I called you to step out into the freedom of grace. You are no longer someone forgotten on the edge of the journey. You are the one I have called by name, the one I have anointed, the one I am sending forth to carry life to souls that have become dry and weary. Remember Peter, who denied me 3 times in a night filled with fear. To human eyes, he was a failure, someone not faithful enough to stand near me in the most difficult hour. But I did not allow his mistake to define the final word over his life. After that brokenness, I met him again by the shore, and I did not first ask him about his failure. I simply asked, "Do you love me?" And then I entrusted him again with the mission of shepherding my flock. Do you see, my beloved child? I do not cast you aside simply because you have fallen, in the very place where you thought you had no value left. My grace begins to write a new story. Now, as your soul begins to settle into my peace, I want to lead you deeper into the flow of heaven where blessing does not stop at filling your life, but begins to overflow through you to others. I do not want you to live only as a vessel that always needs to be filled. I want you to become a river, carrying life through dry and barren places. Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. As written in John 7:38, when I heal you, it is not only so that you may have peace, but so that one day you may also lift others up with the very tenderness you have received from me. I have heard every prayer you lifted to me through tears. There were nights when you cried and no one knew. There were pleas caught in your throat because the pain was too deep to speak aloud. But heaven has missed nothing. I hear even the sighs you cannot put into words. And, my child, what I am preparing for you is far greater than what you have dared to ask. You asked only for bread for today, but I am preparing a table of grace. You asked only for a door to open slightly, but I am building for you a spiritual home where your soul can rest. God is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine. As written in Ephesians 3:20, do not limit my goodness with your fear or your sense of unworthiness. There are blessings I withhold, not because I am stingy with you, my beloved child, but because I am preparing your heart to become wide enough to receive them without losing yourself in the process. If I gave you everything while your soul was still filled with anxiety, you would cling to the blessing with fear instead of gratitude. That is why I am first teaching you how to rest in me, so that when the season of abundance arrives, you will not worship the gift, but always remember the giver. My beloved child, my nature is abundance. I do not give love sparingly the way human beings often do. When I open a door, no one can shut it. When I pour out blessing, it is not merely enough to survive, it is enough to overflow and multiply. Remember the widow who possessed only a small amount of oil left in her house. When she obeyed me and began pouring the oil into empty jars, the oil continued to flow until there were no more vessels left to fill. You are the same, my beloved child. What limits the miracle is not my power, but the jars of faith you are willing to bring before me. So today, open your soul wide before me. Stop living like someone constantly afraid of lack. Stop believing that your life deserves only the leftover fragments that remain behind. I am the Father of abundance, and I am calling you into a new season, a season in which you no longer live merely to survive, but to reflect my glory into the world. Then you will realize that the most beautiful thing I give you is not merely the blessings placed into your hands, but the transformation within your soul itself, from fear into peace, from shame into freedom, from dryness into a river overflowing with eternal life. My beloved child, the day will come when what I do through your life will leave many standing in silent amazement. not because you become great according to the world's definition, but because my hand upon your life will be too evident to deny. Those who once believed you would remain trapped in weakness will see me lift you up. Those who once despised your small beginnings will have to admit that it was not your own strength that brought you this far, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit. As written in Zechariah 4:6, I do not bless you so that you may be exalted above others. I do it so that through your life, the world may know that my grace is still alive and that my power is still moving among humanity. There are forgotten souls whom I choose to become witnesses of my glory. I lifted Joseph from prison to become ruler over all Egypt. I called Esther from the life of an orphan girl to become queen and save an entire nation. I used the Samaritan woman, who carried so much brokenness and shame, to bring good news to an entire city. Do you see? My beloved child, I often choose what the world considers weak in order to humble human pride. For when I work through a life that has been broken, the light of grace shines even more brightly. Do not be ashamed of the road you have walked. Those very cracks will become the places where my light shines through most powerfully. But I want you to understand that the greatest blessing I give is not found only in things your eyes can see or your hands can hold. True blessing is the deep transformation within your soul. It is when you once closed your heart because of pain, yet now you are able to love again with tenderness. It is when tears once covered your life, but now joy blooms like flowers after a long winter. It is the peace that remains within you, even when circumstances have not yet fully changed. My peace I give to you. As written in John 14:27, there are things that money cannot buy, fame cannot keep, and time cannot steal away. And that is the freedom of a soul that knows it is loved and protected by me. I know there have been times when you looked around and wondered why blessings seem to come so slowly. You see others moving ahead faster, becoming more successful, appearing happier, while you remain standing in long seasons of waiting. But, my child, I am not delaying because I have forgotten you. I am preparing you. A fragile vessel would shatter if too much were poured into it too soon. So before placing blessings into your hands, I am enlarging the capacity of your soul. I am teaching you humility in seasons of lack, so that one day you will not become proud in abundance. I am teaching you to seek me before seeking the gifts I give, so that when the season of blessing arrives, your heart will still remain close to me. Seek first the kingdom of God, and all these things will be added to you. As written in Matthew 6:33, my blessings do not operate according to the logic of human striving. The world teaches you that everything must be seized through tension and control, but heaven moves through faith and surrender. When you stop trying to force every door open by yourself, I begin to move. When you continue singing through your tears, I hear the melody of trust. When you still choose hope in a place that seems hopeless, that is when miracles begin to take root. Remember Paul and Silas in the prison cell. They were not rescued immediately, yet in the middle of chains and darkness, they still lifted songs of praise. Then the earth shook. The prison doors flew open, and the chains fell away. Do you see? My child, many times, my blessings do not begin with outward change, but with a soul that still chooses to trust me in the hardest circumstances. I am preparing for you not merely a season of being filled, but a season of overflowing. I do not want you to keep blessings only for yourself. I want your life to become a river, bringing life to others. Those who cross paths with you will feel a peace that does not come from this world. Your words will carry the breath of healing instead of bitterness. Your actions will sow hope into weary souls. You are the light of the world. As written in Matthew 5:14, light does not exist for itself. It exists to guide others. and through every season of your life, I am causing the light within you to shine more clearly. Perhaps right now you cannot yet see everything I am preparing, but do not let silence cause you to doubt. Roots always grow deep beneath the earth before branches rise toward the sky. I am doing the same within your soul. I am building within you a foundation strong enough that when blessing comes, you will not lose yourself. I do not only want to give you a moment of happiness, I want to give you a life marked by heaven itself. So today, my beloved child, stop seeing yourself as someone lacking. Stop believing your life is only a struggle to survive. I have called you into the abundance of my grace, not an abundance meant for boasting, but an abundance of love, peace, hope, and life. And then, when others look upon your life, they will not merely see a person who has changed. They will see living proof that I am still near, that I still love, and that I still do the impossible for those who place their trust in me. My beloved child, there will be seasons in your life when even you will be amazed by what I am doing, not because you have become great by the standards of the world, but because the traces of my grace upon your life will be too clear for others to ignore. Those who once looked at you with doubt will witness how I lift you up from your weakest places. Those who once thought you would remain trapped in pain will see me transform those very wounds into a source of light for others. But, my child, I do not do this so that you may be glorified. I do it so the world may know that my power is still alive, and that my love can still transform a broken soul into a testimony of hope. Let the one who boasts boast in the Lord. As written in 1 Corinthians 1:31, when others look at your life, I want them to see not human greatness, but the kindness of God. I have always loved using what the world considers small to reveal my glory. Remember the boy who had only 5 loaves and 2 fish among a hungry crowd. What he held in his hand seemed far too little, far too small to make any difference. But when it was placed in my hands, it became abundance enough to feed thousands. You are the same, my beloved child. Perhaps you look at yourself and see only limitations, shortcomings, and unfinished places. But I do not look at your life through the eyes of lack. I see the potential of heaven sleeping within you. If you dare to place what you have in my hands, no matter how small it may seem, I can do far more than you can imagine. The true blessing I give is not found only in material things that human eyes can see. Some people possess much, yet their souls remain empty. Some are praised by others, yet when night falls, they cannot find peace. But the blessing I give is far deeper. It is the ability to love after your heart has been broken. It is peace that remains, even while the storm has not yet passed. It is joy blooming on ground once soaked with tears. It is the strength to forgive when your heart has every reason to become bitter. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. As written in John 14:27, that peace does not depend on circumstances. It is a river flowing from my presence into your soul. I know there are times when you wonder why you have had to wait so long. You see others seemingly receiving what they desire more easily, while you are still walking through days without an answer. But, my beloved child, I am not delaying because I have forgotten you. I am preparing you. For if I gave you the blessing while your soul was still immature, that very blessing could draw you away from me. I do not want you merely to become someone who receives much. I want you to become someone deep enough to carry blessing without losing your heart. Some vessels must be refined in fire before they can hold precious oil. I am doing the same within you. After you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace will himself make you strong, firm, and steadfast. As written in 1 Peter 5, saying, do not think my blessing comes only through the tense striving of human effort. Heaven does not move through panic or control. My blessing often flows most powerfully where surrender is deepest. When you stop trying to open every door by your own strength, I begin to open doors no one can shut. When you still lift praise while tears remain on your cheeks, heaven listens. Remember Jehoshaphat when he faced an army far beyond his strength. Instead of placing the strongest warriors at the front, he sent those who praised me ahead of them. And when they began to worship, I threw the enemy ranks into confusion and gave victory in a way no one expected. Do you see? My child, some miracles are not unlocked by human strength, but by complete trust in me. My beloved child, I am preparing to make your life a stream of living water. The blessing I give will not stop with you alone. Those who pass through your life will feel the light I am placing within your soul. Your words will no longer be mere sounds, but will carry healing and hope. Your actions, even the smallest ones, will sow seeds of love in barren places. You are the light of the world. As written in Matthew 5:14, a lamp is not lit to be hidden away, but to guide others. I am lighting you not so that you may exalt yourself, but so that through your life, many others may find their way back to me. There are things I am doing within you that your eyes cannot yet fully see. The roots of a tree always grow deep in darkness before its branches rise to meet the sunlight. In the same way, I am building within you a spiritual foundation strong enough that when the season of blessing comes, you will not be swept away by pride or fear. I am teaching you that the greatest gift is not merely what I give you, but my presence with you throughout the journey itself. So today, do not be afraid if you do not see everything immediately. Do not doubt when the miracle seems delayed. I am still working, and the work I have begun within you will not stop halfway. The day will come when you stand in the middle of my abundance and realize that every tear you shed was not in vain. The long nights that once caused you pain were actually deepening your soul so that it could carry what I desire to give you. And when others look at your life, they will not merely see someone who once failed and later succeeded. They will see a soul transformed by the love of God. They will see that I am still near, still healing, still restoring, and still doing the impossible for those who place their complete trust in me. My beloved child, let these words sink deep into your soul like cool water, soaking into land that has been dry for far too long. My blessing is closer to you than you realize. Not because you have never made mistakes, not because you have already become strong enough or perfect before me, but because my mercy is greater than your weakness, and my faithfulness does not change with the seasons of your life. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed. As written in Lamentations 3:22, there were nights when you believed quietly, prayed in secret where no one could see, and kept walking even while your heart trembled. I saw every moment. Not one tear has fallen without my remembrance. Not one time you chose hope in the middle of despair has gone unnoticed by heaven. And I, the one who sees even the hidden places of your heart, will bring my promises to fulfillment at the appointed time. When you begin walking by faith instead of fear, you will start to recognize traces of my blessing everywhere around you. Things you once called ordinary will now appear to your soul as gifts from heaven. A peaceful breath after a long night of anxiety, a door opening at exactly the right moment, an encounter that brings hope in the middle of weariness, a word of encouragement arriving when your heart is almost exhausted. All these are small streams of my grace quietly nourishing you. Taste and see that the Lord is good. As written in Psalm 34:8, when your spiritual eyes are opened, you will understand that I have never stopped caring for you, even in the days when you believed you were walking alone. My beloved child, the season of drought within your soul will not last forever. There are seasons when I allow you to walk through the desert in order to teach you that true living water does not come from the world. But I never intended for you to remain in dryness forever. The rain of my Spirit is coming. Just as Elijah once stood upon Mount Carmel after a long drought, continuing to pray even while the sky remained empty. At last there appeared only a tiny cloud, no larger than a man's hand upon the horizon, yet it announced that a great rain was about to fall. You are the same, my beloved child. Perhaps right now you can only see small signs, but do not despise them. What I begin with the first drop of rain will become a river of life. Open your heart like thirsty ground before me. Open your weary hands before me, for I do not desire merely to ease your thirst for a moment. I desire to fill your soul until it overflows. I want you to understand, my beloved child, that blessings do not always arrive like thunder shaking the heavens. Many times, they come like gentle rain after a long season of drought. At first, you may feel only a small touch of refreshment within your soul. But little by little, everything that was dry begins to live again. You will notice your heart becoming softer in places that once grew hard. You will find peace appearing in situations that once filled you with panic. You will see doors opening at the exact moment you believed they had been closed forever. For I will pour water on the thirsty land, and streams on the dry ground. As written in Isaiah 44:3, I am not only filling your hands, I am filling your entire soul with new life. As you begin to walk by faith, every step you take will leave traces of grace behind you. Words spoken from a heart of love will become seeds of healing for others. Small acts of kindness will bring hope to weary souls without you even realizing it. For when I live within you, everything you do in love carries the breath of heaven. Remember the poor widow who offered only 2 small coins in the temple. To human eyes, her gift seemed insignificant, but I saw the heart behind the offering, and I caused her story to be remembered through generations. You are the same, my beloved child. Do not despise the small things you do in faith. In my hands, they can become blessings far greater than you imagine. I know there have been seasons when your soul felt like cracked ground because you waited so long. There were days when you looked toward heaven and saw no sign of rain. But, my child, drought does not last forever. Lift up your head. Do not live like someone who has lost hope. The rain of my Spirit is coming. Open the hands you have closed because of fear. Open the heart that has grown weary from defending itself for too long. For I do not merely desire to sprinkle a few drops of comfort upon your life. I desire to fill you so completely that my life will overflow through you to others. Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. As written in John 7:38, you were not created merely to survive, you were created to become a river of life. Now that the journey of learning to surrender and trust has begun taking root within your soul, I want to seal within you a truth that nothing can erase. You belong to me, not as a servant living in fear, but as a child loved with everlasting love. The Holy Spirit is the guarantee of our inheritance. As written in Ephesians 1:14, that seal is not upon your body, but upon your soul. It declares that you no longer need to wander in search of value through human approval. You no longer need to prove yourself worthy of love. You no longer need to run from your past or live in fear of tomorrow. I have called you by name, and no power can snatch you from my hand. The faith I am building within you is not a temporary emotion that appears only when you need a miracle. I am making it the very breath of your life. Just as a tree lives through the sap flowing within it, you too will live through my presence within you. There will be days when you still do not understand everything I am doing. Yet you will learn to keep walking without needing every answer. There will be moments when your heart still aches, yet you will no longer despair as before. For deep within you, there is now a new foundation, the foundation of trust. I see the way you have learned to love even after being wounded. I see the times you kept standing even while your soul felt exhausted. I see the quiet steps of faith you have taken on days when no one understood the battle you were fighting. It is through those very things that your soul has been refined like gold through fire. True gold is not destroyed by fire, it is purified by it. You are the same. My beloved child, the trials you have endured were never meant to destroy you, but to reveal the true light I placed within you from the beginning. So, today, stop living as though you are still bound by fear. Stop believing that you must save your own life. I am surrounding you with my presence. When you collapse, I lift you up. When you no longer have words to pray, my spirit intercedes for you with groanings too deep for words. When the whole world turns away, I remain beside you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. As written in Hebrews 13:5, my beloved child, this is not the end of your journey. This is the beginning of a new flow, the flow of faith, of freedom, of love, no longer ruled by fear. And day by day, you will begin to realize that the greatest blessing I give you is not merely what rests within your hands, but the fact that your soul has finally found its true home in me. My beloved child, let your soul grow still in this moment and hear clearly my voice, calling your name above all the noise of the world. These are not merely words of comfort for a weary heart. This is a declaration from heaven over your life. I declare that a new season has begun, not in some distant future that leaves you waiting in despair, but here and now. Even while your eyes cannot yet fully see and your hands cannot yet touch what is coming, I have already begun to move. See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth. As written in Isaiah 43:19, there are things in the spiritual realm that have long been prepared, and their appointed hour is drawing nearer with every breath you take. You once believed you had been left behind when you saw others stepping into their season of blessing. There were moments when you wondered why you still had to wait while others had already received what they prayed for. But, my beloved child, I have never forgotten you. A gardener does not harvest every fruit at the same moment, for each season has its appointed time. If I have held you back longer, it is not rejection, it is preparation. There are souls I send ahead to prepare the way, and there are souls I reserve for a more appointed moment, a moment when, as I move, no one will be able to deny my hand upon your life. He has made everything beautiful in its time. As written in Ecclesiastes 3:11, what you call delay is often my way of positioning you to receive something greater than you ever imagined. I have seen every tear that fell from your eyes during nights when no one understood the battle you were fighting. I saw the prayers you repeated over and over while everything still seemed silent. I saw the moments when you almost gave up, yet still held on to a tiny spark of faith within your heart. And, my child, none of it has been wasted. Those tears did not fall meaninglessly to the ground. They became seeds planted in the fields of heaven. Those who sow in tears shall reap with songs of joy. As written in Psalm 126:5, there are seasons when I allow you to sow through pain so that later you may reap in astonishment. That harvest is drawing near, a season of restoration, of doors opening, of joy you once believed you would never feel again. Remember Joseph in the prison cell. Perhaps there were nights when he believed the dreams I had given him were distant things that would never come to pass. He was betrayed, forgotten, and imprisoned in darkness with no visible way out. But, my beloved child, the moment that seemed most delayed was actually the moment I was preparing him for a position far greater than he understood. And when my appointed time arrived, in a single day, I could lift him from prison to the palace. You are the same. Do not measure your life only by the present moment. Do not assume that because you see nothing today, I am not moving. There are shifts. I work quietly behind the scenes until the appointed hour arrives. And then everything changes faster than you ever expected. You are not a mistake within my plan. You are a divine design of heaven itself. Before you were formed in your mother's womb, I knew you. Before you ever learned to call my name, I had already called yours. Perhaps people once made you feel small, forgotten, or without value. But I see within you what your own eyes cannot yet see. I see the light I placed within you from the very beginning. I see the testimony your life will become for many others. And I see the moment when I will cause everything that once wounded you to become evidence of my grace. My beloved child, stop allowing comparison to steal your joy. When you look too closely at another person's journey, you forget that I am writing a very unique story for your life. David did not need Saul's armor in order to defeat Goliath. Ruth did not need to become someone else to step into her destiny. Esther did not need to compete with anyone in order to be chosen at the right time. What I have prepared for you cannot be stolen by another. What belongs to you within my will shall come to you at the appointed time. What I open, no one can shut. As written in Revelation 3:7, I want you to begin living with expectancy instead of weariness. Do not look at the present only through the eyes of old disappointment. Look through the eyes of faith. Wake each morning with the awareness that heaven is moving around your life. There are encounters I am arranging. There are doors I am preparing to open. There are answers I am drawing closer day by day. And there are miracles quietly forming in places your eyes cannot yet see. But the greatest thing I desire to restore within you is not merely your outward circumstances. I desire to restore your soul itself. I want to remove from you the mind that lives in anxious waiting and give you instead a heart that knows how to rest in my timing. For when you learn to trust me throughout the journey, you will no longer seek only the gift, you will begin seeking me. And that is where true peace is born. So today, my beloved child, lift up your head. Do not live as though you have been forgotten on the edge of the story. I am continuing to write your life with the hand of grace. What I have promised will not return empty. And the day will come when you stand in the middle of your harvest season and realize that every moment of waiting, every tear, every dark night led you to this very moment. The moment you clearly see that I never left you, and that my appointed timing for your life was more beautiful than anything you once expected. My beloved child, let your heart become still before me and understand this. My timing has never been controlled by human urgency. I do not measure time the way the world measures it. You look at days and months and believe you have waited too long. But I see the entire journey and know the exact moment when your soul has matured enough to carry what I desire to give you. With the Lord, a day is like 1,000 years, and 1,000 years are like a day. As written in 2 Peter 3:8, I do not come too early and place into your hands what you are not yet strong enough to carry, and I never come too late and miss your need. Every silence, every season of waiting, every temporarily closed door is weaving together part of a greater picture your eyes cannot yet fully see. There are seasons when I allow you to pass through brokenness, not to destroy you, but to soften your soul before the light of heaven. A seed must lie in the darkness of the soil before it can sprout. Gold must pass through fire before it becomes pure. You are the same, my beloved child. I am using both joy and pain, both tears and hope, to shape your life according to my eternal purpose. One day, when you look back, you will realize that not a single moment was wasted. Even the nights when you believed you were lost were the very places where I was quietly leading you closer to the destiny I had prepared for you. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God. As written in Romans 8:28, things you call delays today, tomorrow you will call the protection of heaven. Now I want you to prepare your heart for a deeper encounter with my presence. Not merely brief moments when you feel peace and then return again to your old anxieties. I am leading you into a season where heaven will not merely visit your life, but remain upon it. Just as Moses came down from the mountain after being in my presence, and his face reflected such glory that the people could not look directly at him, I will place upon you the mark of my glory, not so that you may be exalted, but so that wherever you go, others will sense that I am with you. I will touch your spiritual eyes so that you no longer see everything through the lens of old fear. Things that once appeared only as chaos will begin to make sense. Doors that once confused you when they closed will be understood through new wisdom. I will open the ears of your heart so that, amid the noise of the world, you will still hear my voice guiding you. My sheep hear my voice. As written in John 7:27, there are things others may never understand. Yet your soul will recognize them because my spirit is living within you. My beloved child, I am leading you into a season of breakthrough greater than you can presently imagine. Not merely a small outward change, but a deep spiritual movement that will transform the way you think, the way you see yourself, and the way you walk through this life. You once asked me to open a single door, but I am preparing to open many doors, one after another. For when I begin to move, I do not work halfway. Remember Elisha and the widow woman who possessed only a little oil left in her house. She believed she was about to lose everything. Yet I caused the oil to continue flowing until every vessel was filled. You are the same, my beloved child. What I am about to do in your life will not merely rescue you from lack. It will become a river of abundance, overflowing from your life into the lives of others. I am lifting you out of the dry land of limitation. My beloved child, the seasons in which you merely survived are passing away. I am placing your feet into the river of grace, where new life begins to flow. Whoever believes in me, rivers of living water will flow from within them. As written in John 7:38, you will no longer live by your own strength or by the limited wisdom of human understanding. I am giving you insight that comes from heaven itself. Things that once confused you will suddenly become clear, like the dawn after a long night. Decisions that once filled you with fear will now be guided by a deep peace within your soul. Do not think the things I am preparing belong only to the material world. The greatest miracle I desire to perform is the transformation of you yourself. I am enlarging your heart so that it may carry more of my presence. I am teaching you to live by faith instead of reacting through fear. I am shaping you into one who carries light instead of merely searching for light for yourself. When this new season begins, you will realize that the things which once caused you to tremble no longer hold power over you. For wherever my presence dwells, darkness cannot remain. My beloved child, prepare your heart with humility and expectation. Do not step into this new season with hands closed by old doubts. Open your heart like thirsty ground, waiting for the first rain of the season, for I am pouring out not only blessing, but also wisdom, discernment, and spiritual power so that you may walk in the destiny I prepared for you from the very beginning. And the day will come when you look back upon the road you have traveled and weep in astonishment. You will understand that every season of waiting had a purpose. Every breaking was preparing you for greater wholeness. Every closed door was leading you toward the right one, and from the deepest place within your soul, you will say, Father, your timing was perfect. My beloved child, open your heart to receive what I am doing even now in this very moment. Stop looking backward with eyes still chained to old regrets. The work I am beginning within you is not trapped inside your past failures, nor imprisoned in the painful seasons that once made you believe you could never rise again. I am doing something entirely new. See, I am doing a new thing, now it springs forth. As written in Isaiah 43:19, even while you believe the land of your life has become only a barren desert. I am quietly opening streams of living water beneath the ground. In the very places where you thought no hope could ever grow again, I am preparing flowers of restoration to bloom. There were tears you once believed were only signs of weakness, yet I have used them to water the seeds of destiny within your soul. There were wounds that caused you shame and made you want to hide, yet I will transform them into living testimonies of my grace. Remember Ezekiel when I brought him into the valley filled with dry bones. To human eyes, that place held no possibility of life. But I told him to prophesy over those bones, and when my word was spoken, the breath of life entered the place of death. Bones joined together, flesh appeared, and a living army arose. You are the same, my beloved child. Perhaps today there are still places within you that seem dead dreams, long buried. Faith that once faded, courage worn down by disappointment. But when I call, life will return. What once seemed finished will awaken again through the power of my spirit. I know you are living in a world filled with noise. People run endlessly searching for value in things that quickly fade away. They measure themselves by the attention of crowds, by success, by money, and by polished appearances. The glow of screens has caused many souls to forget the true light of heaven. People laugh and speak, yet inwardly they remain empty. They connect with the entire world while losing their own souls. What does it profit someone to gain the whole world, yet lose their soul? As written in Mark 8:36. The greatest darkness is not merely outward sin, but the moment human beings forget they were created to belong to me. Within all this chaos, there are souls so weary they no longer know how to hope. They continue living, working, and smiling before others. Yet inside they carry only silent exhaustion. There are prayers they have repeated so many times they believe heaven has become completely silent. But, my beloved child, it is often in the deepest silence that I am working most powerfully. I do not always come through thunder or earthquakes. As with Elijah on Mount Horeb, I was not in the great wind, nor in the earthquake, nor in the fire, but in the gentle whisper, and that whisper can awaken an entire soul that has fallen asleep in despair. Today I am calling to you in the same way. Rise up. My call is not only for those who believe they are holy or worthy. I also come to those who are collapsing beneath guilt and sin. I do not wait for you to become perfect before I love you. I call you in the very middle of your weakness, so that my grace may accomplish what your own strength never could. Remember Saul on the road to Damascus. He once opposed my people and lived in the darkness of pride and error. Yet one encounter with the light of heaven transformed him into Paul, the one who carried the gospel to the nations. Do you see? My beloved child, no soul is too far for me to bring back. No heart is too hardened for my love to soften again. I am awakening within you the things that have slept for far too long. There are callings you once forgot because of fear. There are dreams you buried because you believed you were not capable enough. There are parts of your heart that closed after too many wounds. But when my season comes, nothing can stop new life from rising. A seed does not sprout in winter, but when spring arrives, life breaks forth and no one can hold it back. You are the same. This is the season in which I am awakening your soul. The stones of guilt, fear, and disappointment will begin to crack beneath the light of my presence. The heart that once closed itself will learn how to love again. The soul that once doubted will learn how to trust again. The places once filled with darkness will become the very places where my light shines most strongly. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. As written in Isaiah 9:2, I am not only bringing you out of darkness, I am making you a light within that darkness. My beloved child, prepare your heart, What I am doing within you is not a small and temporary change. This is a spiritual transformation. I do not want to give you only a brief emotional moment and then leave you to return to your old life. I want to transform the very roots of how you live, how you love, how you see yourself, and how you see the world. I want you to stop living as though you have been forgotten and begin walking as one who carries the mark of heaven. And the day will come when your very life becomes a miracle that others look upon and find hope. Not because you were never broken, but because I caused what was broken to live again. Not because you are strong in the way human beings understand strength, but because my power has been made perfect in your weakness. Then everything within you will reflect one truth alone: I am still alive. I am still calling. I am still restoring. And I still bring what seemed dead back to life through my everlasting love. My beloved child, there are paths I do not show you fully from the beginning. Not because I want you to be lost, but because I want you to learn how to hold my hand instead of clinging to your limited understanding. You often feel at peace only when you know every next step. But true faith does not grow where everything is clear. Faith grows when you keep walking, even while a thick fog still lies before you. For we walk by faith, not by sight. As written in 2 Corinthians 5:7, my beloved child, do not be afraid when you cannot yet see the way. If I am the one leading you, even the wilderness can become the road to the promised land. I know there are things before you that appear completely impossible. There are closed doors that make you believe all hope has ended. There are circumstances so far beyond your ability that your heart trembles whenever you think of them. But it is precisely in the places people call impossible that I love to reveal my power most clearly. When the Red Sea stood before the people of Israel and the enemy pursued them from behind, they believed there was no escape. But I did not need an existing road to rescue my people. I only needed them to trust and step forward when I spoke. And then the sea opened where there had only been deep waters in despair. You are the same. My beloved child, do not let the limits of your eyes decide what I am able to do. With God, all things are possible. As written in Matthew 19:26, I want you to understand that my timing always carries the precision of heaven. I do not act randomly, nor do I allow your life to drift in meaningless chaos. Every season I permit you to walk through carries a purpose deeper than what you can currently understand. There are times when you become impatient because the promise has not yet come to pass. But I am not driven by human urgency. I see what you cannot see. I know when your soul has matured enough to receive what I intend to give without losing itself. He has made everything beautiful in its time. As written in Ecclesiastes 3:11, there are things that, if they came too soon, would destroy you instead of building you up. Look at Abraham, my beloved child, who waited so long for the promise of a son. To human eyes, his time had already passed. His body had grown old, and every natural hope had faded away. Yet it was precisely when human strength could no longer accomplish anything that I caused the miracle to appear. I did not allow Isaac to come while Abraham could still boast in his own ability. I allowed it to happen when all glory could belong only to me. Do you see? My beloved child, sometimes I allow you to reach the end of your own strength so that you may discover that the true source of miracles is not within yourself, but within me. Remember Joseph in the prison cell. There were likely many times he wondered why I remained silent for so long. He had been faithful, yet he was betrayed. He had lived uprightly, yet he was forgotten. But the prison was not the place where I abandoned him. It was the place where I was preparing him. I was teaching him wisdom, humility, and leadership before placing into his hands authority over all Egypt. Had I lifted him too early, he would not yet have been strong enough to stand firm. You are the same. There are places where I allow you to remain longer, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am laying a deeper foundation for what lies ahead. And Moses as well, my beloved child. 40 years in the wilderness seemed like meaningless years for a forgotten shepherd. Yet it was in that desert that I softened his heart, taught him patience and humility, before entrusting him with the responsibility of leading my people through the Red Sea. If Moses had still been impulsive and dependent on his own strength as he was in his youth, he would never have been able to carry the cries of an entire nation. The wilderness was not punishment. Many times, it is the schoolroom of heaven. David also walked this path. I anointed him while he was still a shepherd boy. Yet I did not immediately place him upon the throne. I allowed him to endure long years of being hunted, misunderstood, hiding in caves, and fleeing from Saul. For I did not only desire to create a king, I desired to create a heart that loved me more than power itself. It was during those years of waiting that David learned how to praise me in the darkness and place his trust in me above any throne. My beloved child, there are things I am forming within you that only time can shape. Do not see delay as evidence that I have abandoned you. A seed hidden beneath the soil for a long time does not mean it is dead. Roots are quietly growing deep before the tree ever rises above the ground. You are the same. What I am doing within you right now may not yet be visible to anyone else, but heaven sees it clearly. I am building within you a maturity that no storm will easily uproot. So today, stop trembling before what is still unclear. Stop believing your life has fallen behind simply because you have not yet seen the promise fulfilled. I have never lost control. The clock of heaven is still moving with perfect precision over your life. And the day will come when you look back on every season of waiting, every tear-filled night, every long silence that once seemed meaningless. And you will say, Father, you made everything beautiful in your time. Therefore, my beloved child, keep walking forward, not with eyes filled with fear, but with a heart that knows I am leading you. I did not bring you this far to abandon you in the middle of the journey. What I have promised, I will complete, and what I am preparing for you will surpass everything you ever dared to imagine during your quietest prayers. My beloved child, let the stories I have written throughout generations become a lamp for your soul in this present season. I did not preserve them merely for you to admire the past, but so you would realize that the God who moved then is still alive and moving today. My power has not grown old with time. My love has not faded through the years, and my arm has never become too short to save. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. As written in Hebrews 13:8, if I opened the sea for my people before, I can still make a way through the impossible situations before you now. If I shut the mouths of lions for Daniel, I can still silence the voices of fear roaring within your mind. If I called Lazarus out of the tomb, I can still bring back to life the things within you that you believed had died long ago. You often think miracles belong only to the distant pages of Scripture. But, my beloved child, miracles are not imprisoned in the past. A miracle happens whenever a hopeless heart learns how to hope again. A miracle happens when a soul that was once shattered begins to heal. A miracle happens when you still rise to pray in the middle of days where no answer can yet be seen. There are things I am doing in your life, even now, that your eyes are not yet clear enough to recognize. Just as a seed silently sprouts beneath the soil before it rises into a tree, my work within you is also growing in hidden places. Do not measure my presence only by what you can see on the surface. Remember that no one who truly trusted in me was ever put to shame in the end. Noah built the ark for many years in a land that had never seen rain, and the world mocked him. Yet at the appointed time, the rain came, and the ark became the place of salvation. Hannah wept for years in the temple because of the pain of barrenness. But Samuel was born at the very moment I intended, and that child became a prophetic voice for an entire nation. Martha and Mary believed I had come too late when Lazarus had already lain in the tomb for 4 days. Yet it was precisely where human hope ended that I revealed the glory of resurrection. Do you see? My beloved child, my timing has never been wrong. What you call too late is often the perfect moment for my power to be revealed. When the tomb stood empty on resurrection morning, heaven declared that death does not have the final word. And I want you to remember that truth for your own journey. The things in your life that seem buried are not necessarily finished. There are dreams I am simply keeping beneath the soil for a season in preparation for stronger new life. There are promises I have not forgotten, even though time has passed so long that you believe they had faded away. Though the vision tarries, wait for it will surely come. As written in Habakkuk Cox, Colme, heaven never breaks its promises. My beloved child, I am writing your timing with a wisdom far beyond human understanding. You see only scattered fragments of the present, a few closed doors, a few unanswered prayers, a few long seasons of waiting, but I see the entire picture. You see silence, I see preparation. You see delay, I see foundations being laid deeper. You see the darkness of a long night, I see dawn drawing nearer minute by minute. There are things I am arranging quietly that, if I revealed them all to you now, you would stand in awe at how detailed my love for you truly is. Do not be afraid when you cannot clearly feel my hand. There are seasons when I teach you to trust my heart more than your own emotions. A child does not fully understand the road their father is taking, yet rests peacefully because they know they are being carried in loving arms. I want you to learn that same rest. When you cannot hear my voice clearly, do not quickly assume I have gone far away. My silence is not my absence. Many times, it is within that silence that I am doing my deepest work inside your soul. Be still and know that I am God. As written in Psalm 46:10, I know there have been moments when you became exhausted from waiting. There were days when you wanted to give up because you believed you had hoped for too long. But my beloved child, do not stop just before the harvest season. A farmer does not dig up the seed simply because fruit does not appear the next morning. They continue watering because they know life is quietly growing beneath the ground. You are the same. Your faith is not in vain. The prayers you lifted during dark nights have never disappeared into emptiness. They are before me, and I am answering them in ways greater than what you can currently understand. So today, keep walking forward, not with a heart full of panic, but with a gentle trust that I am leading the way. Keep loving, even when the world grows cold. Keep hoping, even when circumstances have not yet changed. Keep praying, even when you cannot yet hear a clear answer. For my timing is nearer than you think, and the day will come when you look back over this entire journey and understand that not a single tear was wasted. Not one season of waiting was meaningless. Not one dark night did I allow you to pass through without preparing a more beautiful dawn ahead. And when you finally see the complete picture through spiritual eyes, you will bow your head in awe and say, Father, you never left me, not even for a single moment. My beloved child, I know there are days when you look at yourself and see only what is lacking. You see the cracks within your soul, the failures, the seasons of weakness, and you wonder how someone like you could ever be called close to me. You believe you must become better, stronger, holier, before you are worthy to step into the plan I have prepared for your life. But my beloved, if I chose only those who were already perfect, there would be no one left for me to call. I have never waited for you to become complete before loving you. I have loved you in the middle of your unfinished journey. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. As written in 2 Corinthians 12:9, the very places where you believe you are not enough are the places where I see room for my power to be revealed. You think you must first be ready before walking with me. But the truth is that I am the one preparing you. A seed does not transform itself into a mighty tree before it is planted into the ground. It only needs to be willing to rest in the hand of the one who sows it. You are the same, my beloved child. What I seek is not human perfection, but a heart willing to answer my call. When I called Jeremiah, he was young and afraid. He said he did not know how to speak and was not capable enough. But I said to him, "Do not say, 'I am too young,' for wherever I send you, you shall go." Do you see? I do not call you according to what you think about yourself. I call you according to what I know I can accomplish through you. So today, stop remaining trapped in feelings of inferiority. Do not wait until every circumstance becomes favorable. Do not wait until you feel strong enough before taking a step forward. My call is sounding right where you are standing now. My child, arise. Not tomorrow, not when your life becomes more perfect, but now. The very place where you once wept in loneliness will become the place where I raise an altar of revival. The ground that once carried the footprints of despair will become the place where my light first begins to shine. I often begin my greatest works in the very places the world considers insignificant. Remember Gideon. When I called him, he was hiding in a winepress because he feared the enemy. He did not see himself as a warrior. He saw only his own weakness and smallness. Yet I called him a mighty man of valor. I did not call him according to his present condition. I called him according to the destiny I had already placed within him. And my beloved child, I am looking at you with the same eyes. Perhaps today you see only your limitations. But I see the light I placed within you from the very beginning. Only a small flame, perhaps, yet enough to shatter darkness if you allow me to breathe upon it. There are things in your life that cannot be fully understood through human reasoning. The world will always try to explain everything through human ability, but the things that belong to me must be discerned through faith. Being chosen by me is one of those mysteries. The world believes I choose the talented, the remarkable, the stronger than others. But I have never looked the way the world looks. When the prophet Samuel stood before David's brothers, he thought the tallest and strongest must surely be the one I had chosen. But I said, "Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." And then I called the shepherd boy forgotten out in the fields. My beloved child, I am also seeing within you what you yourself have not yet recognized. To be chosen does not mean you are already perfect. To be chosen means I have placed something of heaven within your soul before you were ever born. Perhaps it is still small like a spark in the night, but if you allow me to touch it, it will become a light for many others. Do not despise the things I have placed within you simply because they seem small. A mustard seed may be tiny, yet it can grow into a tree where birds find shelter. A young boy with a sling can still bring down a giant. An unknown girl from a small village can still become the one who carries the Savior into the world. I know there are times when you fear that calling. You fear that you will fail. You fear that you are not capable enough to complete what I have entrusted to you. But, my child, I do not call you to do it by your own strength. I call you to walk with me. When Moses stood before the Red Sea, it was I who parted the sea. When Daniel was in the lion's den, it was I who shut the mouths of the lions. When Peter walked upon the water, it was I who kept him from sinking. And when you step into what I have called you to do, I will be with you in the same way. Do not let your past define your future anymore. Do not let the times you stumbled make you believe you are no longer worthy to be used by me. I do not call you because you have never fallen. I call you because you still have the ability to rise when you hear my voice. There are people who have never failed, yet their hearts remain closed to me. But you, though you have been broken, still know how to seek me in the darkness, and that is far more precious in my eyes. My beloved child, your time has come. The things that once existed only as promises are now beginning to move. The seasons of delay were not rejection. They were only the prelude to the new chapter I am opening. Do not live as though you have been forgotten anymore. Rise in faith, right where you are. For there, I will do a new thing. There, I will show the world that my power does not depend on human perfection, but on my presence within a life. And one day, when you look back, you will understand that the greatest thing was not that you became strong, but that you learned how to let my light live through you. Then your life will become proof that I am still calling small things to accomplish great things, still transforming fearful souls into witnesses of my glory, and still causing the light of heaven to shine in the midst of a world filled with darkness.